Hello everyone, thank you for joining me on the premiere edition of BrainScratch Searchlight, and I want to give a quick shout out to Travis Donnell. Thank you so much for allowing me to use that cool intro music. You'll also hear it again a bit at the end. And a huge thank you to the BrainScratch community for enabling me to split off one of the story types from our main BrainScratch show and start this project, which I feel is very important. And in case you don't know what it is, Searchlight is all about helping to aid in missing persons investigations. So for today's, I thought it might make sense to take a look at one of our good sources. We've mentioned the Charley Project on several previous episodes of BrainScratch, and they have a listing by chronological order of the date of disappearance. So I found the most recent case that they have listed. This is a case where the person went missing in January of 2015, and there are some pretty unique twists and turns in this story. As a matter of fact, the chief of police that is investigating this says that this is the type of stuff that is written for television. It's just one of the most out there stories and cases that he has ever dealt with. This is the case of Jason Sims Jr. And what's really unique about this case is Jason Sims Jr. is almost a person that was missing even before he was actually missing. And you'll see what I mean as we crack into the case a little bit further. So starting with the Charley Project, here are some photos of Jason Sims Jr. And this one in the lower right, this is actually a mock-up of an age progression that has been done based on the other photos. That's one of the things that's very strange about Jason, is there does not seem to be any photos of him after about the age of, looks like maybe 5, possibly 6 years old there. And this ties into the story of his disappearance a little bit. So let's take a look at the vital statistics. Missing since January 2015 from Fairfield, Alabama. The classification is endangered missing. His date of birth was April 24th, 1999. He was 15 years old when he went missing. I'm pretty sure that means he would be 16 years old if you ran into him now. Height and weight, we have him at 5 foot 6 inches tall at 125 pounds. Distinguishing characteristics: African American male, black hair, brown eyes. Medical conditions: Jason is autistic and nonverbal, which is one of the reasons why this case really kind of captured my attention, and I thought it was really important to report on this. Let's take a look at some of the details here. Details of disappearance. Authorities with the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the DHR, began investigating Jason's parents, Natasha Wright and Jason Sims Sr., for child neglect in Birmingham, Alabama in October of 2014. They were aware of 2 children living in the home at the time, a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. They didn't know about Jason or his 9-year-old sibling. I find that amazing. To think that you would have 4 children and somehow you would send the 2 middle ones to school and having somewhat of a normal life while the oldest, the eldest, and the youngest are kept at home. I mean, how do you keep that secret? I'm pretty sure some elements of that story are why the Department of Human Resources even started investigating for child neglect here. Although it is worth noting that there appears to be some conditions about the house. I don't know if the house is not very healthy, but during one of the searches they included a hazmat team to the house. So just to give you some insight there. Based on the conditions at the home, police issued arrest warrants for Wright and Jason Sr., charging them with aiding the dependency of minors. They tried to arrest the couple in October, but the family had moved from their home in the 100 block of 59th Street. And if you think the story is strange there, it actually continues. But we're going to move to an article here. This is from AL.com, which I believe is a news source that pulls together a few different local papers for the state of Alabama. This article was apparently originally posted by the Huntsville Times. Here we have another picture of Jason. They've got some photos down here. Here are photos of his parents. And this was written by Carol Robinson, who I think I'm going to reach out to as soon as I get this posted. I'll probably just send her a link to it. And Carol, if there are any updates to this story, please let us know. I can always do a follow-up episode so we can cover those updates. But let's take a look here. So authorities in October 2014 first began looking into child neglect claims with Sims's family. During that initial probe, Davis said, Davis is the police chief that I was mentioning before that thinks this case could be a television movie. Police were aware of 2 children, ages 10 and 12, living in the home with the parents. They had no idea the 15-year-old existed or another child who was 9 years old until the investigation progressed. The latter 2 had never been enrolled in school nor have any medical records. I'm kind of curious how they know that there is a history of him being autistic there if they don't have medical records. I'm assuming at some point that someone from the Department of Human Resources got to interview him during the initial time that they went out to visit, so it's possible that that's where the determination came from. But with no proper medical history, I kind of just have this question mark about the autism thing. Based on conditions of the home and the situation, authorities issued 4 arrest warrants for both parents, Natasha Wright and Jason Sims Sr., charging them with aiding to the dependency of minors. I don't know, I think it's delinquency of minors. I think that's a little typo in there. Basically, the chief said that charge means that they weren't doing what they were supposed to do for their children as parents. Davis said they tried to serve the arrest warrants in October at the family's home at 112 59th Street. However, he said the family had gone on the run. And here's where we get a little stranger. On January 23rd, Wright, the mother, was found unconscious at the home. 3 days later, 3 of the children were found with relatives in Mulga and placed in DHR's custody. Wright briefly regained consciousness and asked authorities about her teen son. She said the last time she was with him, he was at their home. She was not able to say when she last saw him. On Friday, February 13th, lawmen carried out a search warrant at the Fairfield home in search of the teen and any information that could lead them to him. So essentially, there was 2 follow-up investigations. This one that they mentioned that happened in early February, and then a month later in March, they went back and looked again, just trying to find any evidence or trace of potentially where Jason Sims Jr. could be. A judge, a local county circuit judge, kind of chimes in here, just talking about being a parent, and she's worried about the temperatures that he might be facing if he was truly, lost, if he was out in the elements all alone. That obviously wouldn't be safe for an autistic teenager. Outside of that, it also mentions that Jason Sims Sr. has been arrested, and they are planning on holding him basically until some information comes out that helps them find this teen. So it appears to me that they suspect that the father might have something to do with the disappearance of Jason Sims Jr. If that means that he has him sequestered off with some other family members that are unknown or friends that are unknown, or if they think that something worse happened to him, I'm really not sure. And we are now coming up on a year. It's just a little bit over a year since they've basically noticed that Jason has been missing. There's an additional article here. I'm going to include, just like on a regular BrainScratch, I'm going to have all the links below so you can jump in, take a look at the news stories. Hopefully, if you're in the Alabama area, take a good look at these photos. There might be something that jogs your memory. Here, this talks about the second investigation that they did. They have some photos. They talk about the hazmat unit being involved because of concerns of possible contagions in the home. Also here they note police are asking anyone with information about Jason Sims Jr. to call the Fairfield Police Department at 205-786-4111. Worth noting, I did get another link. This is to Alabama law enforcement that has a little bit of a different number here to contact. This is to contact the Fairfield Police Department at 205-786-5217. So if you have information, I would suggest contacting both, just to be redundant, just to make sure that that information gets heard. I think occasionally things can slip through the cracks. Also, WebSlueths.com has a forum going on this case. It is 10 pages long, and unfortunately, most of it is frustration from the user community about the lack of news and updates about what has gone on with this case. We don't currently know, is Jason Sims Sr. still imprisoned and waiting to give information about where his son is. We don't know really the status of the mother's health, whatever caused her to be unconscious on the doorstep. There's some theories in here about it, but I really don't want to quote them because I didn't find good evidence to back them. But there's just Ontario Mom, I just want to give a shout out to, because she's really trying to keep this case alive. She keeps coming back to this thread and kind of reposting her feelings about basically being frustrated at no further evidence. And she kind of sums it up here. I can't find anything in the recent news about this boy. It's like he disappeared twice. And that was posted in April of 2015. We then see that in May, on the 25th, that is National Missing Children's Day. The National Autism Association shared a picture of the age progression, Jason Sims Jr., on their Facebook with a hashtag #FindJasonSims. We have more updates from Ontario Mom. She's basically not finding any information. And we get to the Charley Project's posting, which someone just put on this thread, it looks like only a few days ago. And once again, Ontario Mom thinks about this boy all the time. And I gotta tell you, after looking into this case, I'm thinking about this boy a lot too. There is just a real sad story here. Almost like this kid never had a chance. I don't know if there was an abusive situation in the home, but regardless if there was a physically abusive situation in the home, the fact that he was never allowed to go to school, probably not given proper medical care, those are pretty good signs of abuse in my eyes, and are a type of abuse in themselves. So this is on missingkids.com. This is from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and they have a full page here, Help Bring Me Home, Jason Sims. Once again, detailing some of the same information we went through. They have his age now listed as 16, 5'6", 125 pounds, age progressed to 15 years. That actually isn't the only photo available. If you go through the news stories, you'll be able to find some other photos of him when he was extremely young. But here they have information to call 911 or 1-800-THE-LOST at 1-800-843-5678. Or, of course, the Fairfield Police Department in Alabama at 1-205-786-4111. And from their official page, just once again, they have an alternate number. I've heard cases where information doesn't always get to the proper hands, so I highly recommend calling all of these numbers. But the other number listed on this page is 205-786-5217. And hopefully somehow this video can get seen by the right people, someone that might have some information about Jason and be able to bring him home. Now, you guys know, in a typical edition of BrainScratch, we would look at possible theories. The WebSlueths article goes into a lot of them. So if you're curious for that, if your brain needs that type of information, go in the link below, read through the 10 pages at WebSlueths, and there are a ton of very good questions and thoughts about this case. They did bump into something in particular. So in the comments field of the AL.com article that was posted in February about this case, someone named Facts for Clueless is commenting in here, and I don't want to read all of it. You know, it is essentially an anonymous account. However, they do seem to have some kind of private family information. They are relating that Jason Sims Sr. was certainly abusive, particularly to his wife, that she was seeking help for a long time. She didn't know how to quite leave him with the children and make all of that work. I don't know I don't know how much to invest in these comments because, like I said, they're anonymous. The person doesn't really identify who they are. However, you brain scratchers out there, if you're interested in hearing an opinion by someone that might be on the know in there, be sure to check out the AL.com article from February in the links below. Scroll all the way to the bottom and read through the comments there. This case is certainly strange to me. Like I said, this is the boy that was kind of hidden from the world, and now he's literally missing from the world. My heart goes out to him. My heart goes out to his parents as well. But I don't know that returning him to their care would be the best thing. It kind of sounds to me like they weren't doing that great of a job in terms of raising him. And I truly hope that he is safe, possibly with friends or remote relatives somewhere. I hope that he is found by authorities so that services can come into play and hopefully give him a shot at life, which it just seems like Jason Sims Jr. has not been given yet, and that is the biggest tragedy. Outside of that, I hope they also do something for those other 3 kids that gives them a better chance than it seems like they were getting, particularly the 9-year-old that wasn't enrolled in school or getting any medical treatment. So that's it, Brain Scratchers. First episode of Searchlight. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any thoughts, feelings, comments, please drop them below and I'll be sure to check them out. I hope you're having a great week, and I will catch you later on the Geek and Dorks channel. Take care.